Alright, it may not be super obvious based on my channel, but if you know me elsewhere, or if even glanced at other spaces I'm in, it'll be pretty quick to tell that I'm a massive fan of Hazbin Hotel. And while I do admit that the show has its issues, that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about my other main obsession, Radiostatic. I know this fandom. Let me cover a few things before I get started. 1. I am Arrow Ace, or at least under the umbrella, so please don't flood this video with, "But he's Arrow Ace," because I do not care. 2. I honestly do not want Radiostatic to be an end ship. I just want to explore the idea of it being in the show. And 3. While I do not get into super mature topics, obviously the show is meant for more mature audiences, so viewer discretion is advised. Vox is the obvious one. While, at least at the moment, we cannot confirm nor deny whether his emotional attachment is due to a crush or even a prior romance, it's at least very obvious he has one. Vox is incredibly volatile when Alastor is brought up. He has extreme emotional reactions to him, varying from extreme joy when he fails to blowing out an entire city's fuse because of Alastor. Not to mention the other fact of how much he stalks Alastor, and also the photo he still holds onto. While all of this obsession could be explained with the scorned fan trope, think Syndrome from Incredibles, I honestly think that'd be a bit boring. Besides, whatever the hell Vox is doing with his obsession is at least 5 steps above what Syndrome did. Honestly, if Radiostatic were to become canon in the show anyways, one-sided radio silence seems like the most likely option at the moment, though that doesn't mean I don't want to theorize about it. It's very easy for a lot of people to look at their relationship and just write Alastor off as he didn't care and was just manipulating Vox. But here's where I'd like to disprove that. He definitely does care. He's just far better at hiding it than Vox ever was. Our most obvious look at this was the whole stayed gone thing in episode 2. While yes, Vox was indeed the one who initiated it, Alastor still chose to join in. Nobody was forcing him to, and while I have heard he joined due to his reputation, I don't really think this. While yes, the man has an ego bigger than the Grand Canyon, that much is true, I doubt that if he didn't care, that Alastor would spend any time on the tiny, petty insults Vox was throwing out. I'll be getting back to Stayed Gone soon, so keep that in mind. Other than Stayed Gone, we do see some other smaller hints that Alastor did care in some way. First off, Vox is one of the only known people in the show to own a photo of Alastor, at least without static in the way. And the fact that Vox is standing next to him in the photo shows that this wasn't somehow a sneaky photo or stolen from someone else, but one Vox got from Alastor. It's also shown a couple times throughout the show that Vox is one of the few people that can get Alastor into a slightly more grumpy mood by name alone. Not something that would be the case if he flat out didn't care. The best example of this is when Nifty asks who the V's are, and Alastor responds with a very dismissive, "Nobody important," but he does so with a brand new expression that he did not have in prior scenes, one of slight annoyance. Consider the looser, smaller smile and the line under his eye. Now, I'm sure a few people are wondering, so let me just cover my opinion on this. What about Lucifer? Yes, Lucifer is another person who manages to get Alastor annoyed very easily. I don't think it's because he cares about Lucifer, though. As mentioned earlier, the dude has a huge ego. He would absolutely despise not being the most powerful person in the room. Not to mention, it's also very clear he's using Charlie for something. As of this being posted, we do not know what, but we can safely assume Lucifer getting involved would not be good for Alastor. I think the main difference between Vox and Lucifer is someone he's trying to learn what buttons he can push without getting eviscerated, along with trying to get him out of the picture without physical force. Both because it would upset Charlie, and because he knows he wouldn't do good in that fight. Vox, meanwhile, is someone he knows all of the buttons, and decides to tap dance on them for shits and giggles. Remember when I said I'd be getting back to Stayed Gone? Well, here we are. Obviously the title is a joke. Sorta. While it isn't an actual lover's quarrel, it sure likes to act like one. I'll be going in order, covering important lines and what they mean or could mean for their relationship. This line could mean many things. Perhaps Alastor actually lost to Vox during their fight for one reason or another, or it's possible either Alastor or Vox slunk away, which would have called a draw as nobody won. I assume we'll hear more about this fight in Season 2. But for the next line, let's cover the news scroll. In case some viewers may have never noticed it, here's what the news scroll says. So, the radio guy's back. I don't think you noticed. I didn't at first. I was too busy being a much more interesting and important person. But fuck it, news is slow today, I guess. I'm totally not worried about this guy, and neither should you be. I totally wrecked his shit last time he tried me. Thanks for asking. Quickly shooting through points of interest. 1. This, before it's outright said, shows off Vox's insecurities, though that had been shown throughout the rest of the episode as well, so it's not too big. And 2, he's worried that Alastor is back. Anytime someone says, I'm totally not blank, is pretty much them saying the opposite. Worry that he's back could imply things about their relationship that we have yet to see, since in the show we haven't seen a reason for Vox to be actively worried. Alright, back onto the lyrics. While yes, this line has been talked about quite a lot in many Radiostatic videos, I want to give my take on it. While in the song, Vox had only been dishing out petty insults, bashing his voice, calling him a loser, and throughout most of the song, Alastor plays along with insults that can also simply be seen as petty, chipping at his insecurities and power level. And then, out of nowhere, Alastor decides to just drop this. An incredibly personal piece of information that he's been holding on to at the minimum 7 years, possibly longer. And the way that he drops this very sensitive topic is as a joke, one that Vox does not take too kindly to. The real question is, why did he suddenly decide to drop that? Was it to humiliate Vox, or was it for some other reason? He had been playing along just fine, perhaps a little harsher than the elementary level insults Vox had been doing, but nothing actively personal. And that is despite knowing Vox in the past. I'm sure he had plenty of personal information he could just drop. Why did he play along? Why that info specifically? My guess is we'll have to wait until Season 2 to get more context, considering the two have only shared all of 7-ish minutes of screen time so far. Now it's time to cover pure theory time. I think that there's a lot of potential in Radiostatic being canon. Now, let me make a few things clear. 1, yes, this is working under Alastor being Arrow Ace, despite that not having been confirmed in the show. And 2, I specifically mean past Radiostatic. As they are now, they would never be together. They'd rather rip out each other's guts and feed them to snakes before having a polite conversation for 1 minute. Them being in any sort of even remotely friendly relationship is way out of character. But in the past, we know that they were certainly friends, or at least business partners of some sort. But what if they were more? Granted, knowing Alastor, he certainly never would have used the word dating or anything lovey-dovey like that. Now, why do I find this idea interesting? Why does it have potential? Well, for one, it'd be a chance to explore some very unique Arrow Ace representation. It's a very unique position that Alastor is in. Think about most Arrow Ace characters in media, especially modern media. While I can't speak for every existing media out there, I can say that most of the time, Arrow Ace characters are never involved in romantic subplots, which, first of all, can contribute to the stereotype that Arrow Ace people never date at all. But Alastor here is in a position where he's an Arrow Ace character that is involved with a potential romantic subplot, and I personally would love to see that. Here is my personal idea on how it could possibly work out. Alastor never found any interest in women in life, and since Arrow Ace wasn't a known thing, hell, he still doesn't even know what being ace is in the modern day, he may have just assumed that he was gay. And then suddenly, after decades of hating men, he comes across Vox, a man he doesn't despise, so that must be what love is, right? Maybe he even decided to give it a try, even if not openly. And then Vox tries something romantic. Perhaps a kiss or something like that, who knows? And it just isn't right. Vox invites him to his team, and it doesn't feel right. So he denies. and breaks Vox's heart. Since Alastor clearly still doesn't know what Arrow Ace is, perhaps he thought Vox had been manipulating him with something he didn't understand to gain power. I'm not fully sure. We'd need more info on what happened that day before I could make a better theory.